read this.
Yeah, these are all,
Take a minute and read those, and if someone's ready, accept the, look forward to somebody coming up with a motion.
that big break.
I'll make a motion.
How are you?
Second, which I guess Leslie would be you, because we a little down a few last time. And,
We made a lot of big decisions too.
comments from anybody else, questions? All those in favor? All three of us? All right, all right. Takes care of that. Great. We just did the 14th. So now we're looking at the 7th.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I know the 7th coming.
Something in
Well, what was the second page?
It's true, there's nothing over there.
Yes, they either have the Mylar shows on or something today.
That's a steel, simple short road.
Wow.
Wow. Oh, it's right to be
Awesome.
Is it ledgy? That's rare.
Yeah, down there, it's this end, not the coastal end.
Oh, all right, yeah.
You know, Scotland Bridge Road,
What's that?
you know, Scotland Bridge Road.
I think we got that.
It's up there. It's like Zach's one, I'm saying.
But I don't.
Yeah.
Heading down through there.
Off 91.
Yeah, just past it. On the left.
So down there on the left? Yeah, this was right by this, yeah, I know right where you are.
Looking at it today, going, how does that happen? You know, like all the way around. So, and I had to work on, do a lot of engineering stuff with, and John, all put together a package on the thing, and they liked the price.
I just realized we're close for that first lot.
And asking about that, how far from the road is that?
Not far.
It looked close.
That's gonna be 60 feet. The house would be.
From the side of the center.
I set them aside, because I had one out.
The other side of the road. That should be from the side of the road.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. 60 feet isn't far. I thought these lots were gonna be closer to the road. I think these are gonna be roughly, like, the front of the buildings are gonna be 70 feet.
Yeah, I think even,
I can't know it.
good job, but I think it solves one question, come up with 10 for 75 on the center line.
So long ago, I'll make a motion.
Second.
Almost 50 on the house, right?
Any comments, questions?
Tonight.
All those in favor?
That's it.
Yeah.
All right, good deal.
Let's get out of this.
Okay, next up, well, maybe I'll jump in here for a second. I just want to bring everybody up to date on the ordinance. 2 weeks ago, I believe, Ken presented our thoughts on the ordinance to the Board of Selectmen upstairs, and without too much difficulty whatsoever, they accepted what we were doing. I think it took all of 4 or 5 minutes maybe, at most. They really didn't have a whole lot at all to say, which obviously surprised me. Then, this past week, I went to the selectmen meeting, and they actually voted on it, along with a number of other warrant articles. And so now it is going forward, it's going to be written, it's not written yet, it's going to be written by Michelle and Jennifer at some point. And so at that point, we will see it. And I asked upstairs what the thoughts were on the potential for the selectmen to add something on their own. And what was told to me was that there's no intention of the selectmen doing anything. So it seems like this ordinance change that we're talking about is what's going to be presented to the townspeople in June. And I think that's where we're at. I think, as far as I know anyway, that's where we're at. If there's anything else going on, it's, behind my back or whatever. All right, questions or comments about that?
Well, I guess given that, then, I think my struggle has been, how do we not end up back where we were before if the answer is no, that they don't favor revoking section?
Well, I mean, there's always the idea that you could go another year and do something else. So, I mean, if that gets no, then maybe our job is to come up with something different, or perhaps leave it. I don't know.
Then we'd still just be in the same jam of having to...
This is proposed for town meeting or referendum.
Was that clear?
No, I think we're thinking town meeting.
Some of these people's got to explain why, there'll be a little more conversation about why it is worded the way that is.
Yeah.
If it was at town meeting.
And maybe, since we are on the topic for a second while we're here, why don't we make a final decision on the public hearing? We had initially last meeting discussed with the few members that were here, potentially the 7th of April as being the date that we would do that, which would be the first meeting in April that we're here. And so at 7 o'clock, we'd have the public hearing and then have our meeting right after that, if that sounds okay with everybody.
Well, because the selectmen put that on a warrant, I think they are obligated to have a public hearing as with that amongst other petition items.
I don't think warrant finance and all that, but where it's zoning, we'll have ours. And then
There'll be duplicates.
if there's changes to the public hearing, we can change it. I don't foresee any though.
We have April and early part of May to make those changes if in fact some come forward.
Did you say April 7th?
I did,
Or 21, April 7th?
April 2nd. Sound all right to you?
Yeah.
In the schedule, everybody else schedule? Okay, so we make that public, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take care of whatever it does to get us there, right? All right, you guys are on. Nason Farm.
All right, well, I believe just about everybody here is quite familiar with this, and we're presenting the same information that we did 2 weeks ago. There's just a little bit more of an audience. I don't think we had any issues with what we were proposing with everybody that was here before, but I think they wanted to get everybody into the discussion just to make sure. This is the same exact subdivision that we got our previous approval on, with the exception of I've made some adjustments to the allowable building locations on the plan. As I stated at the last meeting, I made those changes for 2 reasons. One of which, I've enlarged them a little bit because, when Bill and I sat down and started looking at it, I had confined him to some unreasonable areas, especially on Lot 1, as far as leaving him room to pick a good building location and do what he or his clients need to do to get homes in there. And then the second reason I made some modifications to it was to square them all up with the road and add some reliable distances from the survey irons that will be along the roadways and whatnot, because we realized kind of after the fact when they were starting construction on Lot 10 early on that it was a little bit difficult for a potential buyer or the layman to figure out where these allowable building areas were. I had sort of randomly located some boxes on here, which made sense to me at the time, but once we got into, functionally using the information after it was approved, I realized this was a much smarter idea, so we're consistently, on this side of the road, 40 feet off the roadside line, and then there's 100 feet of depth, and where they could possibly build, and that's it. Over here, same thing, 50 feet off the sideline of the road, and then, a little bit further depth back to allow them to choose whether or not they wanted to be up or down on the hill that's back here. Because it is a little bit low down in this area, they'll probably potentially need to go back a little bit, so. Beyond that, everything else is identical to the previous approved plan, and we're just hoping you guys would understand and approve of our modified building envelopes there.
Joe, how far back is the line that you made?
Which,
Off the road, on the left?
Here?
Yeah, the back, not that one, the back one.
this is 40 feet, and then from the front to back is 100.
So that gives you 100, so it's 100, the back is 140 off the road?
Yeah. You would, for lots through 6, they're slightly different. Based on the discussions you and I had for some of these other
And
lots.
just so you guys don't have to clear in the lots and getting into it a little bit better, I'm trying to keep the houses all in some of the line. And I think the front of the houses are gonna be between 60 and 70 feet off the road. This is where the front of all of them are gonna go. Well, 2 through 6.
Left side going down.
Yeah. The way, by the time you get off the road, make room for your leach field, and then you gotta be 20 feet off the leach field, it really puts you to 60 or 70 feet off the road for them to fit well. So that's where I'm thinking, and I'd like to keep them in pretty much a straight line as much as possible. So when you drive down there, they're all pretty uniform, not really staggered.
I remember you saying that before. But I guess I'm gonna say the same thing I said when we corrected 10. I don't remember requiring you to put these blue things. I remember it being suggested in the fact finding.
Yes, exactly, that's where these said.
But I don't think we pushed it.
No, I didn't, but
He kept saying he was gonna line them up anyway.
we voluntarily put it on there to satisfy that notion, and you do have a line in your cluster ordinance there somewhere that says there needs to be some sort of overall plan for development.
The building envelope's required in the cluster.
Right, so that was kind of our solution to meet, a development plan, so to speak, as well, kind of kill the 2 birds with 1 stone. So I had voluntarily put them on there to help satisfy that, and then we got looking at it after the approval, and I handcuffed us a little bit as far as being able to use these lots, because there's not a lot of room there,
And the 3 lots on the left, on the right, kind of go up a hill, but the hill kind of goes at an angle. We're trying to get the houses up on the highest point. So lot 7 might be a little closer to the road, lot 8 is going to be a little further back, and lot 9 I think would be the furthest house off. It's going to be hard to line those ones up to work with the land that's there. So those ones might be a little bit of off from each other. But those won't be seen like the ones on the left would be seen.
So the different cans out, just to regroup, that was the old ones, and then that was the modified one. Putting there for illustration.
I think it's a reasonable envelope considering it's a cluster subdivision and the size of the lots. It's actually laying out a buffer on the backside of them.
And I've cleared all the lots on the left, and there were some spots where I couldn't leave any trees in between because there was a skid road there that just nothing. But the lots that I could, I left a decent little buffer of some hardwoods and some pines. And I've actually transplanted a few trees, some nice hemlocks that I was able to grab. Instead of cutting them down, we kind of put them on the property line. Some of the lots to try to give a buffer to help break things up a little bit.
That's good.
Just wait for us to make a motion, or?
Any other questions? Anything? Good. I guess.
I'll make a motion to accept the changes as presented.
Second? Any other comments on the motion? All in favor? All opposed? I guess we're good.
Thank you very much.
That was easy.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
When you guys get in autograph mode, I'd love to have one more set.
You plan on taking that with you?
Probably, what we did before is I recorded it, then gave her multiple copies with the registry's book and page and everything on it.
And I'll take a minute.
You all set with me? Yes. Thank you guys very much.
Good night.
Thanks, Bill.
Someone said we had to.
Anyone else want to take a chance and sign the signature? There's about 4 spots in there, I think.
Where do I put the camera? I'll put it. It's not on yet.
I walk around and,
I'll call Tom tomorrow, but they're signing, we'll get them recorded.
I mean, while we're signing, the second one is the gravel pit that we did last meeting, and really that's all that we have on the agenda for that too. So while you're up here signing one, you can sign the others too.
we don't have to examine that a little?
Well, Ken did, and he said the only thing he picked up on was there's a zip code that's not quite right. But I don't think we have to reach.
Where's that?
It's on one edge,
Over there?
It's
on the far edge.
It's the right side of the page of it, I think any one of them.
I think if you lift Mason Farm, you'll see it, it's right under.
Oh, you signed them all.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different ones. Some of the paper ones, some of the Mylar ones, so, yes.
To sign everything?
Yeah. I have a,
Bill, was there, excuse me, was there a note on here about traffic and site distance or anything?
was there a note on there about what?
Traffic or site distance? I missed all the discussion on these meetings.
The discussion revolved around, on the original discussion on the traffic. And there was no contention other than what was there the first time. When the Turks came forward with their plan.
What I was looking for was just something stating that. The traffic,
And everybody,
and site distance.
And 911 there for that.
just with the 50-foot stations on them,
Once its operation is limited to 80 trucks per
How
day.
we're addressing here is we dropped the last name.
What I did is I
Condition that you're 100 feet on the right, because the driver's operation notice number, it's in the one regulation.
Just a short one line.
When I have them pretty done ahead of time, which means around here, one's after two, and so it'll be pretty simple.
take me 15 minutes.
Right here,
Yeah, so it's
so that was all, and the other one, days too.
Is that two in the front, or is that just?
I don't know.
so that's how they do it every.
You're only going to one site, they're not doing commercial.
Yeah, a lot of times.
Because they think it's gonna be less flow than straight forward.
I look at it as the fire department.
They think what?
They think it'll be less flow
Yes,
than
absolutely.
Now there's 700 feet of hose left in the truck.
Why the hell did they say?
Only 250.
Well, I think they decided just to leave it there.
It's limited to 80 trucks a day, that's what it is.
So that's what it was the original one, and that wasn't one of the changes that was made.
What I don't know is,
We're following the approval of the second time that they came forward to the planning board, which was, I don't know, years ago.
Just find another guy.
that's what I told her.
Did you guys get that, all along will be kept on site on this thing?
This guy's.
Yeah, we had that discussion the other day. Remember that? Their concern is they need to bring the engineer.
Yeah, right. So is it on here somewhere?
make sure they understand,
Can't tell you if it's
I
out.
don't know, okay.
you know, if there's any way to sign that to the house, and we can really help your case, and she wasn't really, I explained myself 3 or 4 different ways, and she wasn't,
We see a septic
Apparently there's a
going too
quarry
close
on
to
the
the
beach road
house.
that,
There's room to
has too
move it
much.
back. We're gonna ask the septic guy to.
Yeah, this is Spectrum,
The well.
so it's not already.
Or to move it.
yeah.
So. That'll be next week's.
Yeah, I was waiting if they could train off.
Let's go.
Be that way.
Well,
It's nice, we're about to, you know, we took a week off work, we took a week
Yeah,
off.
another time.
We're running, shutting
Oh,
off.
sure,
Setting a local, yeah. And we said,
Losing 2 hours on the road, I should bill for it.
you can build them into the price.
Still has
Resets, how many sets?
Yeah.
I think compared to
I think just two, I think that's good.
It just.
The conditions, number them, and line them up with theirs.
If we need one more person.
Ranges, the guy that brought stamps, everything. You just gotta figure out the camera.
Big Apple want to sign it?
Oh, no.
I'm looking for my home.
You all right here in Athens, chat?
I don't see it on.
Good, limits.
I know, yeah, someone else can sign it.
You don't want to sign it?
No, I'm good.
All right. You're on side.
I don't think we have enough people. Just a quorum.
No one requirement is.
Just a quorum.
Walk in, they'll be careful with it, but when you leave the meeting, they give you a clear list. We want these 14 things.
People signing the,
What happens in
Yeah, sign the
discussion, it's gonna pop up. Right, it's, we had our chance, this is what we told you to do, you did it. You know, if you want to argue one of them that you didn't want to do or something, that's fine, but yeah, we tried something great, I wish.
Yeah, I'm sorry, where is that note again? On 1 of 2 or 2?
2 of 2.
In some cases. Yeah. And we're here, attendant operation where we do 80 trucks per day.
That's only, 4 per hour in a 24-hour day, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's quite a few, but maybe his trucks cut 40 trucks, they go in, they come out.
they had 3 trucks right now.
Yeah, no, I know, but then all of a sudden next year, they have 80 trucks.
I don't think so.
Right, it's true, but it's on, what's on here is what they go by forever. Exactly. Not, 10 years from now, doesn't go by there, so.
Ken's right behind you, really. Sitting down.
Ken, what the hell was I gonna ask you? I forget now.
Just the travel notes.
Oh, is a trip a departure and an arrival? So
So
it's 80 trucks per
trucks is
day?
80 trucks, it's not.
That means 40 trips?
I'd say 80 trucks is 80 trucks.
It means 80 trips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I know Turcot had something, I don't remember if we put it back on these guys or not, I don't remember the discussion of it, but I thought we lifted it for Turcot. Because you could have 81 tons, or you could have 3 tractor trailers, it's the same dirt going out, just the neighbors are annoying more.
Yeah.
And so, these guys have, I think, 3 or 4 trucks, and it's 2 hours round trip,
Yeah.
16 to...
Right, they're only hauling to the
Yeah.
Brentwood or something.
Yeah, right, so they're reading probably 50 a day.
Yes, we'll try and get it. Yes, we did a great job.
I'm gonna update everybody for us, on the rollback one,
I think she needs to stop.
because it's property, and nothing else.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna do, I think, so that takes care of the quarry. One of the other things I was gonna ask Tom to do is update us at least to some degree on what's going on with the orchard up here on H Road, the old Womack orchard. I know it's not necessarily coming before us, I don't know that anything will or won't, but just the idea that it's land in town that something is going on with, and I'd just like to know what it is. Let's go to it.
Three Rivers Land Trust has been talking to the owner of that parcel for a number of years now about trying to make permanent the agricultural heritage that goes on there in terms of the orchard. And that would entail finding some buyers and putting an easement on it such that development would be a building envelope design, and development would be, the development rights for the property would be purchased by the land trust. And there would be a governing bit of language that both the, in this case probably the town and the land trust would reach an agreement on, similar to what happened up at the Mary Grant Reserve. And so that, once that was signed, the notion of it turning into a housing development would be forever prohibited. There'd be a limitation to the number of dwellings that could be up there. And currently, the shape of it seems to be maybe two different parties interested in the agricultural capabilities there, and one section that we are thinking of going to the town of 25 acres. If you're familiar with the lot, it would be, if you're heading toward Acton Ridge Road, and you're coming up to the top of the hill across from Lazenby's house, it would be after you got past the shed and going down the hill a little bit. There's some frontage there, probably, my guess is 800 to 1,000 feet, that would be reserved for the town to provide access to the summit. So there's a 25-acre little piece of woods, plus within that would be the summit, which would be provided for public gatherings and just to maintain the scenic view as a public entity. And we're working with a gentleman who's kind of a conservation, Jess, you might know the names of these people that work with foundations, etc., who help an entity like Three Rivers find grant money to help us keep this afloat. So there's going to be, that's coming together pretty well. Plus, hopefully there'll be some town monies involved, and that's going to be on a referendum warrant that would appear on Tuesday, the day before annual town meeting. And then Three Rivers has to raise some money as well. And that's just for the 25-acre piece.
And you're saying that there's already enough interest to go forward based on the orchards themselves? There's two different groups of people who are interested in taking over parts of that to keep it as an apple orchard?
There's actually 5 parties, I think, that have been interviewed, and they have to be, there's some selection process that has to go on there in terms of capabilities and fit of what the property can provide and what these folks want to specialize in. It runs the gamut from maintaining the property as an orchard, and then there are some people that expressed an interest in using it for livestock, raising hay. It has been hay before, and with a little work, some liming, etc., it could yield a pretty good crop of hay. And that's about all I know.
Questions, comments?
Does the 25 acres include the summit?
Yes. Yeah.
So, the land trust has already purchased the land, is that?
No, we're in process.
But you're interviewing who gets to purchase the land?
Yeah. We put it out with an outfit called Maine Farmland Trust. Is in the business of seeking out younger farmers that would want to mentor with an older couple that is getting to be in a retirement age and want to see the heritage of their work carried on. And so the device to do that is the easement, but they're helping us find interested parties that have things.
Who's going to buy the land? Who's going to own the land?
The two individuals, finally, yeah. It's a complicated process.
Sounds complicated.
Yeah. But it's coming together.
And coming together enough so that it'll actually make the the referendum in June?
I hope so, yeah. At least there'll be hopefully some agreements in place by that time in terms of writing.
Excuse me.
All right, thanks, Tom.
Pretty excited.
Ken, anything? What's the bill, huh?
Well, we have issues out there, sure, just not on this yet. Those will be next meeting. That's on for your next meeting.
Were we supposed to be working on rewriting ordinances this winter, or?
For the
Not yet?
2017 town meeting.
Okay.
Because 2016, we have to have the stuff ready a week ago.
Yeah, well, that would be fine, but I mean,
You're just ready to go.
I'm just wondering what we should do next.
We're looking at the multifamily, the two
Okay, that was me,
double
that's your
dwelling
priority?
units.
I'll read that.
Sign ordinance still needs work. I've got a lot of issues in the shoreline zoning that needs adjustments. But, when we started looking at it December and knew we had to have them ready for middle of January, it just wasn't enough time.
That's fine, I mean, it's
So,
just, as long as we've kind of got one going, and we still have to figure out how we really want to deal with historic structures.
There's a new ordinance for that.
It's not a very functional one.
We're not changing that.
Well, once you get what you want, you mean.
Yes, you know what you want, the one house that we did, got their way, we grandfathered that one, and...
Yeah. Well, that's been issued.
Okay, so multi-dwellings is next.
I got a question, Ken.
Shoot.
Have you heard of anything from, that might be available from, let me rephrase that. I learned there is something available from IFW, Maine IFW, concerning an updated guidelines for delineation of wading bird nesting and waterfowl wading bird habitat type stuff.
So the state took that requirement out to make it resource protection. So that's not one of the requirements for resource protection now, but the town has to pull that out, it's not automatic. We talked about this last year or so, and the board really wasn't positive, didn't want to go in that direction, so I haven't touched anything on that.
But this would be new mapping data, similar to what we got back in 2000, 2002. I'll convey the info to Brendan. It's available free of charge.
Yeah.
And there's a secretary's, an office number that I got from a lady that works with us on the land trust. It would be similar to the beginning with Habitat data, except it's been updated, because that's 10, 15 years old.
Yes. We tried getting some new maps from Resource Protection from the DEP. They don't have any. That's why it's in IFW. And there isn't a state resource protection map out there, because we have local stuff and then the state stuff, and we were looking at some of it, which I don't know if you were involved with all, with the Peckham Pit that talks with Three Rivers, working with them. They want to protect it, but it's all in resource protection now, and there was talk of pulling it out of resource protection and Three Rivers would work or something like that, so I'm not sure where that's going either.
Would we be able to order that information if it's free from IFW?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll talk to Brendan, just lady's name, office, and name and phone number.
All right, anything else? Anyone? All right. Therefore, somebody,
We'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
all right, all in favor?